In the heart of Africa lies Ndumba Village, surrounded by rolling hills and lush forests teeming with life. With its vibrant culture and deep-rooted traditions, the village thrives on the stories passed down from generation to generation. Among these tales is one that still sends chills down the spines of those who hear it, the haunting of the Ndumba graveyard. The villagers often spoke in hushed tones about the mysterious happenings near the old graveyard, a place where the living and the spirits coexisted, with paths that intertwined as much as the stories of the ancestors. It was said that some souls never found peace, bound to the earthly realm by unfulfilled desires and untold stories. But one spirit in particular was feared by all, the spirit of Amina. Amina was a young woman known for her beauty and grace. With her bright smile and captivating laughter, she lit up the lives of everyone around her. Amina came from a prominent family in the village and was engaged to a brave warrior named Juma, who was adored by many for his courage and strength. Their love story was a beacon of hope in the village, a narrative woven into the fabric of their lives. However, their happiness was short-lived. One fateful night, a group of bandits raided Ndumba, disrupting the tranquility of the village. Juma fought valiantly to defend his love and his home, but the warriors were outnumbered. In the chaos, Amina was taken captive by the raiders, and though Juma vowed to save her, she vanished into the night, leaving behind nothing but sorrow. In the following weeks, the villagers searched tirelessly for Amina, but she was never found. Distraught and heartbroken, Juma took it upon himself to seek out the raiders. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Juma never returned. The village mourned not just for Amina's loss but for Juma's as well. Faced with an uncertain fate, Amina's family buried her in the village graveyard, hoping to honor her memory. Little did they know that her spirit would soon return. As the years passed, strange occurrences began to plague Ndumba Village. The villagers reported seeing a pale figure roaming the graveyard at night, her face obscured in shadows. Animals would refuse to go near the burial site. The elders, guardians of the village's history, gathered under the ancient baobab tree to discuss the unsettling events. "We must pay our respects to Amina," the chief elder urged, her voice trembling. "Her spirit wanders the earth, restless and longing for closure. We must perform the rites to help her find peace." Preparations were made for a ceremonial gathering. The villagers contributed food, dance, and songs to honor Amina's memory. They set a date for the ceremony, hoping it would appease her restless spirit and lift the strange veil of sorrow that hung over the village. However, one villager, a young man named Kofi, was skeptical. He often mocked the old tales, believing them to be mere superstitions. As the day of the ceremony approached, Kofi decided to venture to the graveyard alone to prove that the stories of Amina's ghost were nothing more than myth. On the evening of the ceremony, while the villagers filled the air with joyous song and laughter, Kofi made his way to the graveyard. The moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows that danced between the tombstones. Kofi felt a chill creep down his spine, but he shrugged off his fears. As he stepped deeper into the graveyard, a breeze wrapped around him, carrying whispers that seemed to echo his name. "Kofi! Kofi!" The voice was soft yet chilling. He dismissed it as the wind. But then, he suddenly noticed a figure standing at the edge of the graveyard. The figure was unmistakably that of a woman, her hair flowing like a dark river and her attire a flowing white gown that glimmered in the moonlight. Amina, it seemed, had come to him. He felt a mixture of fear and intrigue. Was this the ghost of Amina? As she approached, Kofi could see her face, pale and ethereal, yet filled with unfulfilled longing. Before he could gather his thoughts, Amina spoke, her voice echoing through the graveyard. "Why do you disturb my peace?" she asked, her tone both sorrowful and fierce. "I mean no harm," Kofi stammered, his bravado slipping away. "I came to see if you were real." I am real, and my pain is real, Amina replied, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I was taken from my love and my home. My spirit cannot rest until my story is told. Kofi's heart raced. He had mocked this legend, and now he stood before a spirit seeking closure. What can I do to help you? He asked, his voice trembling. The tales you spread feed the darkness, she explained, her voice a haunting melody. You must tell the truth and honor the love that was lost. Only then will I find peace. Realizing the weight of his ignorance, Kofi nodded, his resolve strengthening. I will share your story, Amina. I will make sure the villagers honor you and Juma in a way that reflects your love and sacrifice. Suddenly, from behind Amina, shadows began to swirl, taking on the forms of fallen warriors and villagers who had also known sorrow. They crowded around, their faces filled with sadness. Kofi looked around, trying to understand what was happening. You will be a voice for the voiceless, Amina commanded. Speak for us, for our sacrifices, and we will guide you. With her words, Kofi felt the energy of the graveyard change. The lingering sadness dissipated, as if the ghosts had finally found a sense of understanding in his promise. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Amina smiled softly. The pale figure began to fade. Thank you, Kofi. My story will live on because of you. The next day, Kofi returned to the village with newfound purpose and determination. His experience in the graveyard had changed him entirely. When he stood before the villagers, he recounted the tale of Amina and Juma, detailing the love that had once filled Ndumba Village. He spoke of the bravery of the warriors and the stories of those who had fallen. There was no mocking tone now, instead, respect resonated in his words. The villagers listened, captivated. They had often feared the graveyard, but Kofi's story connected them to their heritage and the struggles of the past. The ceremony took on a new meaning as they gathered to remember not just Amina, but all the souls who had contributed to the spirit of Ndumba. Together, they danced, sang, and drummed, their voices echoing through the hills, a celebration of love and loss. As dusk fell, they lit candles at the graves, paying homage to the spirits that lingered. In that moment, the villagers felt a palpable change in the air. A breeze swept through, whispering promises of hope and healing. From that day on, Ndumba Village became a beacon of remembrance, where the past was honored with respect and love. Kofi had transformed into a storyteller, ensuring that the tales of the village were told with authenticity and reverence. Amina's spirit no longer roamed the graveyard alone, for she had found closure, and in her story, she inspired a new generation to embrace their history. The villagers frequently visited the graveyard, telling stories of their ancestors, creating a strong bond that connected the living and the dead. Years later, as Kofi became a respected elder, he often visited the graveyard to pay his respects. One evening, under the light of a full moon, he felt a familiar presence. A figure stood in the distance, the figure of Amina, looking peaceful and content. Kofi smiled, knowing he had fulfilled his promise. As he walked away from the graveyard, he heard the whispers of joy rather than sorrow, and the village thrived in unity, always carrying the legacy of love in their hearts.